Hey all, nice quick simple one for you today. All this seam sealer needs to come off. It's all around the car. If I show you, I've got it all the way around the edges, absolutely everywhere. Along with this piece that I didn't get rid of, the sound deadening. It all needs to go. I need to get rid of all these clips. I'm gonna try, if I get time, and drill out the spot welds on these seat brackets, because I have a date for a roll cage and it's not massively close, but I've got lots to do and I need to be giving it to them as a clean rolling shell. So let's go. So I'm taking a bit of a break because grab your fingers, your pins and needles. The risk with vibration attachments, less so when you're using a slitting disc, but when you're grinding or using a death wheel like this, is something called vibration white finger. Basically, the vibration causes a lack of circulation to your fingertips. That's why even when it's good weather, even when you feel like you might not need to, you should wear gloves and take breaks relatively often, because honestly it feels like there's springs inside my fingers. So I'm going to take a break for a little while, let my circulation resettle itself. It is something that can cause long-term damage, so this is no joke. However, it's going well. So basically, prior to the cage being put in, there are a set of requirements that I've been given. I'll have to take the boot off, I'll have to take the rear doors off, I'll take the windscreen out. So basically I'll be giving him as close to a bare shell as possible. I'm going to leave the pedal box in, specifically for seat fitting. I'm going to give him the steering column attached to the steering rack but loose, because we're going to change the dash bar and put in a cage dash bar. When we do that, we'll have to basically build brackets to weld it all onto, so that I still have a steering column in the right place. It's not going to be the same place. I'm going to adapt it. I'm going to bring it further forwards. We're going to extend it just to give it that sort of look, as opposed to the, I'm driving out like this. So yeah, it's going all right. My ears are ringing a little bit. I thought I had earplugs and I've run out of earplugs and binned off the last pair. So I'll get some more earplugs for next time when I'm doing some more grinding bits. But yeah, pretty much I'm just going to continue getting on with it. And the other thing as well is I need to remove all of these little clips, just because they look messy, basically. So yeah, enjoy. Something I also need to do, ignore the mess, I store a lot of stuff underneath the car, is remove the fuel lines. So for this, they are just pinned onto grippy bits, which you just get like a plastic hammer or a mallet and hammer them back up. I don't know whether or not I'm going to reuse these points and the lines or whether or not I'm going to go for an inside fuel tank, but either way, they need to come off. The fuel tank's been off for a while, so I just need to take this bracket off across here and then just drop them down, pull it all out the back. So off camera, I've been pretty busy. I've continued on a little bit with the old grinding. That's just going to take a little bit longer than I thought it would. So I'm going to revisit that on Saturday, which is 2 days from now. It will be in the same episode as this. Brakes were already off and hanging, and I've disconnected them from the master cylinder. Drained all the fluid out of the master cylinder, so they're now sat up there on the new rack because sadly, but also good for the funds, I sold my Fiesta race car, which means that this rack and the top that used to be Fiesta stuff can now be dedicated to this car. All the panels that were over here that you may or may not have seen laying around, I've now moved down here, out the way, because this space is a little bit less often used. So yeah, we have a very bare Laguna now. It's getting more bare by the day. I also removed the venting for the heater box, or for the air intake for the heater and cooler. I'll be running something aftermarket. I'll use that space, but I'm most likely going to make something smaller. So yeah, we're going to revisit this later in this episode, where I go along and do all the rest of the bits. Obviously, as you can see, some of it is looking lovely, some of it is still looking rough. So yeah, we will revisit. So I'm back here for another day. I'm just going to quickly hoover up and then I'll start again, because it's an absolute tip from all the dust, of course. So I'll just do that first and then we'll get back to it. So I'm looking at the number of brackets that I still haven't removed. There's one over there as well. And also some things like on this side, this is where the boot fuel release goes. But on that side, for a left-hand drive, there's one there as well. So I'm going to grind those flat, draw these out. I'm going to do that first, just to make this area as clean as possible. Aside from anything else, it makes it easier when it comes to me grinding this stuff off to not have this stuff to work around. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So guys, I'm going to end the episode here. The rest of it, I'm going to do it off camera. It's frustrating. It's tedious. You'll have seen it all before. I will show you when it's all done. Otherwise, you won't get an episode for ages, because I'm just going to pick away at it bit by bit. There's not much else to do on the interior really. I probably will prep it all. I might even put down some weld-through primer. Today, before I got inside here, I was over with the Clio taking off the rear brakes, because I have an inkling that the pattern on the inside at the back for the stub axle matches, and if it does, it means I can swap the Clio rear discs in place of this, If that is the case, then I can obviously look at what the Clio guys do to make them bigger, because I want to go for big brakes. And also it means that I can buy the camber shims that allow you to have, I think it's 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, various different amounts of camber that you can have, which will obviously be useful on track. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.